Eliminate the workplace excuse. That's what leaders do. This is the Career Blindspot podcast.
Today's career blind spot question. Juan, why is it so hard for people to find mentors?
You asked that like I told you to ask me that.
You told me I couldn't make my joke of Courtney blind spot question.
Yes, but you still said it. All right, so why is it so hard? I think it's people's egos that get in their way. And no, I think that is what it is. Because there are tons of people who can mentor you, or I should say, who want to. Mm-hmm. And I would even then make it a little bit more complicated. Just because someone wants to mentor you doesn't mean you should allow it. But let's go back to the original. Why is it so hard for other people to find that? It's they're I don't want to say egotistical. After all, I'll flip it back to Courtney. What's the phrase you came up with when you saw me as I got my business off the ground and I would butt heads with men who were older than me who would talk to me a certain way?
You didn't want to be dadded.
Dadded. That's not a real phrase, but I knew exactly what she meant. What do you mean by dadded? Or describe my behavior when that would happen.
You don't need someone to come in and be like, hey, Juan, make sure you wash your hands after you use the bathroom. You're like, I know that. Like, why are you telling me these things that I already know and wasting our time? Or
the phrase that I realized, oh, this triggers me is, this is a teachable moment. I was like, hey, you give me money, I do something for you. It was over the phone too. Like I can imagine how it would have been in person, which there were some. I would get actually, because I would partner with a lot of my peers in the assessment world of workshops and coaching, and I could enhance a lot of their stuff, but I also knew these people have decades, if not whole lifetimes of experience, and I'm this, I think, what did I start? I think it was 29. When I went solo, I'd been doing it for a couple of years, but even then, I'm like, man, I'm a baby, and I wasn't the first, but You were
in your 20s?
When I started,
You were so little.
Yeah, and then when I started my business, when I became unemployed, I was 29. And yeah, I was like, I never thought about these things. I just did them. I think I'm this punk rock version of Selena, or at least in the movie Selena, where at the end, before unfortunately the tragedy, the father says to Selena, there's all these barriers for Tejanos, Mexican Americans, and women, and you just blasted through them. They were nothing. And I was like, I feel that way, but way more like chaotic. So when someone comes around and says, you did this, and it's not that I couldn't appreciate it. It wasn't even the thing. It was like...
You felt like they were talking down to you.
Yes, but it was more like, there's other stuff for us to be doing right now. I don't want to do this. Let me go do something else. And
I didn't ask for this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or that, yes, partially. I think, or I should say a big part, but it was more of like, look, I came over here to do X, Y, and Z. Why are you trying to drill down on X? No, I want to get Y and Z done so I can move off and go collect another check and do whatever. It was frustrating.
Yeah, it is. So how would you, bringing it back to the question about mentorship, why is it so hard to find?
To Courtney's point, which I can do now, well, not even can, I just do it. I'm like, if I need help, my brain automatically catalogs, I think, two things. Who can I actually be trusted? Mm-hmm. A credible resource, not like a bad or a good person, but who actually knows what they're talking about. And then the next part is like, who do I have direct access to, or who's the best person who would get me there? And it's not even a disease, it's what's your agent on AI? It just does it. Whereas when I see other people, or Courtney, or not clients, because that's what they're signing up for, but friends and family, I'm like, why are you doing this? Or more importantly, like, why are you trusting, I'm gonna pick my mom. Why are you trusting Oprah with what you do with your health? You don't know her. She's selling you something on TV. Not that it's wrong, but you should do your due diligence and go talk to someone else. So because I started to figure that out, finding a mentor, I never thought of it that way. In the same way Selena, or I wasn't like Selena of knowing these barriers existed. I was just like, oh, I need to figure out, I remember when we bought our first home, home that we're in right now. I was technically unemployed. Courtney, and I had great credit, but no steady paycheck according to the bank. Courtney had okay credit, but a steady paycheck. And so I was like,
I had very little credit.
Who can help me play the odds and figure it out? And shout out Jim Dryberg and Ron Collier. These are peers that I've had, friends today. It wasn't, I need to go get mentored in this subject. It was, I trust those guys, not just because they're smart, but because there's proof there that they had multiple properties and this and that, and Jim came from Canada, all these other things. So it's like my brain just jumps all these steps to who can I trust and what's the best way for me to meet them on their level. And there is this escape hatch I have that I believe in hindsight it has done a detriment, but compared to most other people, it's not, where I'm like, oh, I have a question on the house, but don't worry about it. You don't have to get back to me. I always give people like this big, obvious break glass in case of emergency or I annoy you. And that's never been the case to my knowledge. I realized, what? Is this weird? This is egotistical. People like helping me because they say thank you and I follow back up with them. Or actually, I don't know, but you know how I do know? I don't know for sure what it is. How I do know they like helping me because they keep helping me. And let's go back. Why is that so difficult for other people? They're not psychomaniacs like me. No, it's because that ego part says, Courtney doesn't know what she's talking about. Or they do, but they don't like me. Or they do, but they're too busy. Your brain starts making up all these hypotheticals that, what's the sports thing? You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. But it's like worse than that. It's like your brain is keeping you from people who would otherwise love helping you. And something that I flip on people when I'm coaching them is like, what if someone came to you for help on something that you had scars on, that you knew the shortcuts to? I've mentioned IVF on a past episode. If people came to us, and they had questions about IVF, how would you feel about answering those questions?
I'm like, let's go. What do you want to know? I'm going to tell you the truth about everything.
But how do you think what would keep someone who generally wanted to ask you a question?
It's like a personal and intimate kind of conversation.
Yeah.
Like, they have to be open about the fact that they also are on an IVF journey, and not everybody's comfortable talking about that.
Were you?
Not during, no.
Yeah.
Not during.
But I'm not asking you to be too personal, but how were you during IVF?
A nut job.
And that's a harsh term, but you were not very receptive to most people's help.
Right.
And short of the doctor telling you to do something, it was like not even just, you don't really ask your friends for hormone advice unless they're compassion or girl talk or night with the boy. You did not allow yourself so many of those things.
Right.
And I think on one hand, is it fair to say you thought less of those things, or you thought, no, I don't need that? Or was it like, I'm bothering people? What prevented you?
It was the bothering. I felt like I was bothering people, and also hormones were in flux, and so I was not balanced at all.
But fair.
To see the benefit in reaching out to people and asking for support.
That is fair, and I think that is another topic we definitely will be talking about, not just for females or anyone. If you're constipated, anything you want to do is harder. Hey, hormones constipate you. Sorry, I just threw you under the bus. But I think it's also fair to say, I'm going to actually disagree with myself. If everyone was hormonally balanced, or there was no medical issue, I should say, I still think the ego prevents you from talking to a lot of people. However, I'll also disagree that when we do feel light and clean, we're not sick, we're not stressed, you're going to see those opportunities way more clear.
I think the other reason that people have a hard time finding mentors is when you find a mentor that you actually really like and are impressed by, you then have to do the thing that they're advising you to do. You have to start making those changes.
That actually, I think, is a better answer than I'll
jazz hands.
I think that is why what keeps people going. They have the credible person. They know this person would make time. And while consciously they wouldn't admit it, the thing that prevents them is, then I'm going to go have to do it. And I believe I would, if I could somehow measure that. But I'm also going to say, no, you don't. You can ask people. I'm going to give a controversial take. I won't say any names. During the COVID pandemic, Courtney and I were disagreeing on vaccines. Not even disagreeing. Courtney was mad that I didn't want to take a vaccine that hadn't existed yet. And for the record, we did get vaccines. We're healthy. We do stuff. It's been great. But at the time, I'm like, I don't want to do anything that I wasn't already excited to do. The part of the reason I didn't want to go to the military was what they give you a lot of, fill in the blank. But I have friends who are doctors and pharmacists and all these different things. I called them, not just this one instance, but quite a few things during the pandemic. And I'd say, hey, don't tell me what you're telling your patients. Not that I thought that was a lie, but what I cared more about is, what are you doing for yourself and your kids? I'm not going to make a judgment. I just want to know why you, the professional, educated person who's in this shit, what are you going to do and what backs it up? And then I realized oh, that's how I make decisions. I seek out people who I believe are credible, but I still make the decision for myself. Courtney wants facts and information, and then she qualifies.
Source.
Yes.
I will read medical.
But she goes hard. Like there's long form articles. That phrase is too long for me to read. But Courtney wants that information. But that's what I realized. Oh, you don't have to listen to anyone. But if you're not listening to anyone, you're really doing yourself a disservice. And basically that's your ego saying, you know everything. And I would end with this is, if you're so smart, why are you miserable? So call to action is,
go find a mentor.
Find a mentor. But also think about everything you do. No one person is going to be an expert in everything for you. And if they act like they are, red flag, that's up to you, what you hear. There's a reason you go to a doctor and a dentist. There's a reason you go to a mechanic versus someone who does your interior. Very rarely does someone specialize in everything. And I'm going to throw ourselves under the bus as we finish. Podcasters don't fucking know everything. They know one little thing and it gets them popular and then they start giving their opinions, but opinions are not credible facts. They're experience, they're valuable, but it's different if you are trying to get traction on something professional, something personal, something biological, I don't care. But yeah, stop letting your ego, what did you say again that I super agreed with? What's preventing people?
Oh, they think they have to make the change.
Yeah, you don't have to. But if you're not even asking, that's the problem.
I make this show for leaders, those who don't point fingers, but point towards ways they can do better at work. My ask for listening is you share the show on social and or with other leaders, established or aspiring. Until then, no talent, no culture, no excuses.